guys, what's up and welcome to today's video. Yes, I got a little excited doing my makeup today, which is why it's super like glam. We're gonna roll with it. Anyways, so it is 2021. I made a whole video last week talking about the new year and all of that stuff, but I wanted to kind of make this video just to talk about having a quarter life crisis, which I didn't think was real, and I didn't think that happened to people. Maybe it doesn't, maybe I'm just like a needle in a haystack, but you know, that's my life. But I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about like job, career stuff, and like where I'm at right now and what I'm like planning to do. If you guys have been here for a while, you know that last April I ended up losing my job because of coronavirus, and while I have been kind of applying to jobs like here and there, like I've also been taking a lot of time just to think about like, what do I want to do next? Because while my old job was, you know, great as like a first thing out of college, it was definitely something I didn't see myself doing for a very long time. It's not something that I like really love to do. I didn't get up every day and was like, yes, this is amazing. And I spent a lot of time just kind of thinking like, what do I want to do next? And a lot of times people like go to college and they have this anticipation like they're gonna study this and then they're gonna like get their dream job out of it, which like for some people, yes, that does happen, and they end up falling in love with their major and falling in love with the work that they do once they graduate. And if that's you, that's amazing. But I think for a lot of people that actually is totally untrue. A lot of times people graduate with a degree and they don't end up doing like what they thought that they were going to end up doing, or they don't end up working in the industry that they thought that they were going to work in, or they maybe work in the industry but their role is very different from what they studied. What I kind of mean by that is I was a finance major in college, and while I was able to graduate and like do decently well in the subject, it was not something that I was like, I'm gonna graduate and I'm gonna go work at a bank. Like I never had that feeling, and I never really wanted to truly do that. And I feel like with most people like in college, like I know for me and my like trajectory, it was like you didn't even get into your like major core work till junior year. And by that point, like if you decide you don't like your major, like you can switch, but you're probably going to add like another year on to college. And at my time, like I, one, did not want to do that, and two, I was already a year behind because I had taken a year off to do TV. And honestly, I wasn't really sure what I was going to switch to. Like I could stay in the business school, but I wasn't really sure like what within that I wanted to do, and I didn't want to switch to something more general like marketing or anything like that. So I kind of just stayed in my major because I figured, you know, it'll be applicable down the road whether I decide to go into banking or, you know, something else. With that in mind though, like I definitely had a hard time just figuring out what I wanted to do. And at the time, you know, I was thinking about, you know, working on a business. So I did want to have a full-time job, but I never wanted it to be like, this is my full-time job, it rules my life. Like I always wanted to be involved in different projects and keep my schedule kind of open and flexible so I could take on different things, whether it was, you know, an acting gig or, you know, doing YouTube or like anything else. Like I wanted it to stay flexible. And obviously when you're looking for a full-time job, that is not always the case. And unfortunately, the reality is most people need a full-time job. Like as much as I would love to be doing like YouTube full-time and like creating videos and creating content and, you know, acting and stuff like that, like as much as I would love for that to be my entire day in and day out, it's like unrealistic to live that life without some sort of financial support. And I feel like most people don't talk about that. Like you can have like other things of like where you want to go and what you want to do and what you want to achieve, but a lot of those things take time, like creating content and like, you know, getting into a really tough industry or starting a business. Like those all take time, and you need to like have something that you're making money from in the interim. And basically with this whole pandemic thing going on and still going on, honestly, a lot of people did lose their jobs, and it sucks and it's unfortunate. But a lot of the people who I know who were able to keep their jobs or are in industries that are hiring are all tech-based. And I, you know, I went to business school. I didn't have like a tech background. It honestly was something I didn't really want to get into, and I know a lot of like Indians get into it and a lot of our family friends are in it, and honestly, out of everybody I know right now, the people who are doing well and have jobs and are like financially stable and secure are all in tech. While I was kind of taking this time to think about my next steps, I did kind of start considering what would happen if I, you know, went down the tech path in the meantime, because while I could, you know, while I have applied to other jobs that are business related, a lot of these companies that are hiring aren't even hiring for, you know, their business division, but their tech areas are always booming and they're the ones that are growing. And even in a freaking pandemic, those are the jobs that are needed. So I started doing some digging and seeing, you know, what jobs are out there in tech. I personally am like a creative person and I don't like sitting in front of a computer all day and just coding. Like, I feel like I could learn that, and I was taking a couple like courses just over the past year, but it wasn't something that I got up every single day and was like, ooh, this is fun, this is interesting, or this is creative. I did stumble upon UX design, and that to me seemed so much more interesting because it kind of combines every single thing that I'm interested in, and it's still like in the tech field and is still like a highly sought out job. It's a really good industry to be in and is always kind of in demand for like any company across the board. To me, that seemed like it was so much more up my alley, so much more interesting out of everything else that was available. I've decided that I am going to start taking an online UX boot camp. It's all remote, it's all online, it's all self-paced. And I basically decided, my dog is barking, I wanted to have something with a little bit more of like a rigorous structure that also had some sort of return on the end. Because while I could learn classes and do all this stuff, I'd rather have some sort of like professional industry training so I could then get into said industry. And a couple of the other reasons I decided on UX design was because I found that out of everything that was tech related, it was probably one of the most like applicable in the sense of how you can like work. What I mean by that is certain jobs, like you in the tech industry, like you would need to be with a company. But what interested me about UX design is you can go and work for, you know, a big company and kind of work your way up and move, like go the corporate route if that's something you want. But you can also freelance, you can start your own business, you can do contracting work, consulting work. Like, there's so many more options that are available with UX design that I just thought were great, because with everything that I hope to do in the future, like I have always said, I don't really want to have like a full-time job forever. And I mean, I'm saying that now as a 24-year-old, I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I like this because, you know, if something gets crazy, you know, in my schedule, if I'm, you know, working on another project or another business or another side hustle or whatever the deal is, and I want to, you know, instead freelance, or if I want to just do some contracting work, like those are all options. Or if none of that works out and I decide I want to go the corporate route, like you can do that too and work your way up. I just liked how it was so much more flexible in terms of options. It combines both like my creative interests as well as stability, which I think is something people are looking for. And as far as average salaries go, it's just as comparable to being like a data scientist or something too. I'm kind of excited to start that journey and see what that's like. I'm going to start my courses next week. Yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys that bit of insight because I feel like it's really uncommon to have graduated like a year ago and now be like switching careers. But you know, I don't think anybody anticipated on a pandemic happening. I figured now is the best time to do that. If you had asked me a year or two ago, like I would have not expected the past year and a half to go like this, but you know, here we are. And I feel like you just have to make certain choices, and at the current moment, this is what feels right and seems like the best choice for me. If you guys want to know like where I'm taking them, if you guys want a more in-depth video as to like how I settled on a specific boot camp, because there's literally a ton, I can do a video on that as well. And I can update you guys in the future as to how it's going and what it's like, because obviously I haven't started the courses yet, so I don't really know what I'm getting myself into. Oh, realize I didn't mention this before, so two little quick announcements. But obviously based on this video, if you guys have been here for a while, you know that I was working on a company called True Tone, and that was something that I was like really focused on. I've just had a lot of like life circumstances happen where I've basically decided to kind of put that project way on the back burner and just not really work on that right now. Obviously, I do think I'll go back into starting a business someday and, you know, having, you know, a company and a startup, because that environment is so fun. But just right now with everything going on in my life, I just don't think I can handle it. Never say never. The second thing I was thinking about doing is doing a series here on my channel where maybe like once or twice a month I have a founder of a company kind of talk about like their journey and that kind of thing. I'm thinking about calling it like a Founder Friday or something. A bunch of my friends have companies that they are running at the current moment, getting people from different industries and just what it's like a day in their life and how they got started and how they've handled the pandemic or other challenges. Let me know if that's a series that you guys are interested in, because I'm thinking that could be actually really fun to do. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.